Hi, all of you. Welcome back to the module for essays writing. In this module, we'll be discussing how to write a good essay. And this particular video is on writing the introductions. Introduction is one of the biggest challenges. People have questions on how to begin, how to start off. So this video, watch carefully, make your notes, and I'll suggest that you review it a couple of times and master the art of introduction writing. So here we go now. Start off writing good introductions. Now, one of the most important ways of writing good introductions is that you start learning to write what's called as thesis writing. Before I tell you the technique of writing the thesis, why do we need a good introduction? Because, if we write a good beginning, it does make a very impactful impression. The examiner is now more happy to read your essay. He's more curious because understand that the examiner is checking hundreds of copies and many of them are not very inspiring. And there's no real motivation also for the examiner to go and check the paper in detail. So if introduction is good and the examiner is convinced about some arguments, he can start checking your paper more diligently. And introduction is a very important part of your essay structure also. In the previous essays, I've talked about when you're arranging the essay. One important aspect is get the beginning of the essay right. And make sure that you are writing a logical approach to starting the essay. And while developing good introduction, it also gives the writer a very good sense of what he is supposed to write down. So you have the advantage of clarity because you are developing introduction. It gives you a good idea about the essay organization. Of course, it makes a very good, nice case for the examiner to read your essay. So intro writing is part of the organizational skills of the essay. It helps you structure the essay. It helps you arrange your arguments in a proper flow so that ideas come to you one after another as a part of a logical development. Having said this, now, if you remember, if you have a 1,000 or 1,200 word essay, you can have 10% or 15% of your essay devoted for introduction, which implies that the introduction should be about 100 to 150 words. So introduction is not really one paragraph. It's not one paragraph. It is a section of the essay. Write the introduction across 1 to 1.5 page. Most people make a mistake of seeing the introduction as just one single paragraph. Now, so 1.5 page introduction with 1.5 pages of the conclusion. That's a part of your essay. Now, one important rejoinder here is that in introduction, what happens is not only you are able to convince the reader to read, it also gives direction to your essay. I said, no, it gives a clarity because intro writing, it helps you think about the essay, the flow of the essay. It helps generate point. So the intro writing is actually part of developing the entire essay. So keep that in mind. It's part of ensuring the essay actually has a proper structure and a proper set of points. Now, one important point to remember is that there is no one single way of getting started. There are many different types of introduction. One of the common things the students talk about is that they want to write an introduction, which is a story type of introduction, introduction that has some kind of a story line, a short story. My suggestion is story-based intros are the most difficult ones. While you must have seen some students try story writing, but that's not something all of us can do. The story writing based introductions require a different type of skill. The skill to be brief, the skill to be exact, the skill to be able to develop an interesting short anecdote to start off. I'm giving you here a very different approach, a very time-tested, almost guaranteed, and you'll find that the essays that actually get marks, it is not because of a story introduction, but a good logical beginning. One example is, look at the different type of essays or articles you read in the newspaper. How many of those are story-based beginnings? How many of those are code-based introductions? So follow this method where I'm teaching you how to develop the introduction called as the thesis. So thesis writing is our forte. Thesis writing is one of the safest, and not just safest, it is also the most mark fetching because the introduction coming from thesis gives you a very good idea about the entire essay itself. Now, what is a thesis? What is a thesis? Thesis essentially is the central idea of the essay. The essay across 1,000 words, across 1,200 words. The thesis is one or two sentences that captures the central idea, that captures the argument of the essay. It tells us what the essay is about. It tells us what the writer is thinking about for that particular topic. Most topics are, subjective ones. They are argumentative ones. Thesis tells what is the stand of a particular writer. And of course, how the essay is going to develop with what type of logic. So you can see the thesis more like a trailer of the essay. Thesis is the summary of the essay. A thesis ensures that you can tell the examiner the exact stand and the arguments that you will take up to develop the essay eventually. So thesis, like I said, it captures the entire essay in its essence. So a thesis is like a promise or the roadmap of the essay. It conveys that the writer understands the topic. If you struggle with developing a thesis, it only means you have not understood the topic properly. The thesis can showcase the insights and therefore help meet the demand of the essay. So thesis, I believe, is the central core around which the essay should revolve. One important thing, the essay's thesis should be very, very brief, just 2-3 sentences, very specific. Don't keep a very broad, overarching idea. Very specific, 1, 2, 3, 4 points type, and a focused one. The thesis, keep it within 1 or 2 paragraphs. My suggestion is 30, 40, 50 words maybe. You can stretch it for 2 paragraphs, maybe 60 words, but don't go beyond that. The thesis is a brief, nice start to the essay. Now, how to write a thesis? A thesis statement to write, I have a technique for it. Here is the 5-step technique. Number 1 is, paraphrase the topic. Paraphrase as in, summarize the topic in 1 sentence. In the previous module, I've explained paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is rewriting the topic. Paraphrasing is rephrase the topic using alternate words. The second is, for the particular topic, in support of whatever you're saying, give us 5-6 reasons. Then from the 5-6 reasons, you pick up just 2 or 3 of them. Don't pick up all the reasons. Then what you do is, the paraphrase statement along with the reasons, you combine this and you give the thesis like a paragraph. Okay, so you have a topic given, convert the topic into a paraphrase, which is a restated statement. In support of the topic, first generate 4 or 5 core arguments and reasons, combine the paraphrase with the reasons and write a paragraph. So in this video, I'll demonstrate how you will go through writing a thesis. So the first step is paraphrasing the particular topic. Okay. Now see, in paraphrasing, it's very important that you don't forget the nature of the topic. You are conscious about the tone of the topic. You're conscious about if some metaphors are used, what do the metaphors mean? Map the topic with the values. So all of these discussions I've had in the previous module. So paraphrase should capture the essence of the topic and not merely restate it. So for that, ye pehla step hai. This is a part of what I say is getting your juices to run, getting your mind to start thinking. Then you write the paraphrase. So I'm taking an example, 2023 topic. The topic is, a society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. A society that has more justice is a society that needs more charity. As in, charity of giving some kind of clothes, or charity of food, or charity of money. A society does not need charity if there is justice. We talk about freebies, we talk about how the government is literally throwing around the money. This topic says you will not need to do this if the society is more just. So in the technique of paraphrasing, the first thing you do is you try to identify what are the key words of the topic. Make sure you don't miss the tone of the topic. You do not miss the nature of the topic. So we go step by step. So the key words of this topic are society is one. Next is more justice, and next is less charity. A society means what? It could mean the world, the nation, the community. A country will need less charity. A society will need less charity means maybe the nation requires less charity. More justice. The word justice I have elaborated. Justice means fairness. Justice means equality. Justice means better distribution, more opportunities for everybody. Rule of law is a very important part of justice. Okay, plus protection of rights of those who are vulnerable. So justice जो word है मैंने इसको expand कर दिया. And needs less charity implies we need to give less food aid. We need to give out less alms. We need to be less merciful. Merciful sympathy wala jo not required. A very important example of charity is we end up waiving the loans. A lot of loans are waived off for the poorer population. So a society or a community that has fairness, better distribution of wealth, a wage parity, equal work, equal pay, that society will not require a food aid or giving alms or showing mercy and so on. So keywords are identified and what the words mean. You have listed down the meaning of the words. Now what you do is you are checking. Now the quick dive in topic is that the topic is an assertive one. The topic is a moral reformist tone, reforming the society. It has a metaphor around poverty, begging, alms. So essentially, justice versus charity contrast hai. Values, equity, fairness, and you can link to current affairs, welfare reforms, debates on inequalities. So this exercise helps us understand what is the topic's nature, what is the topic about. And this you do along with identifying the words and telling us what are the alternate words. We go ahead. Now you try paraphrasing. Now you're paraphrasing, you write something in your own words while also keeping the original meaning. Okay, so paraphrasing, mein, these are the three examples of paraphrasing. I have not used the keywords of the essay. Okay, so instead of using society, I have used the word civilization. Instead of using has more justice, I have used the word fairness. Okay, instead of using less charity, I'm saying reduces the need for benevolence. Another example is a society, I have used the word civic order. More justice, I have used the word equitable systems. Now, charity, I have used the word philanthropy. So these are three examples of alternate statements or paraphrasing. Okay, a collective, a human collective that ensures equal opportunities. This word essentially means more justice. Requires minimum social compensation. This basically means less charity. I hope you have got the essence of what I mean by writing a paraphrase or trying a summarization using alternate words. Now that you have paraphrased it, the next step is tell me 5-6 reasons in support of the topic. The topic was a society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. Tell me why is this statement true? Give me reasons. Now for giving reasons, what you do is you take the statement and in the statement you add the word because. You have the statement. Okay. Now in this you add the word because. Okay. And then give me a couple of reasons. So I've done this. I've taken the statement. A society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. इससे मैंने add किया word because point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. Because people encouraged to learn skills and therefore they can find livelihood. They don't need charity. Because if you have good governance, okay, the polity will support the weak and they will give them more opportunities. Therefore, they will not require charity. Okay, a more just rule of law will ensure that there is timely redressal of grievances. If the cases are taken up properly, if the judicial systems are responsive, then the burden on society is less because a lot of victims will not collapse. Okay, they can work on the skills, they can work on their ability, the competencies, and therefore they again will not require charity. When I use the word charity, I'm visualizing a person who is completely broken, completely lacking in skills, completely demotivated, that man needs charity. But if the rule of law, the state can intervene rightly, we don't need charity. Why? This person can now build himself back. That's why if there is good rule of law, good judicial system, there will be less exploitation and violence, and the victims can rehabilitate themselves and therefore will require less charity. Similarly, if there's equitable access to resources, the society is more inclusive, therefore again less charity. So this particular statement, मैंने क्या किया? मैंने add किया the word because. Okay, and I gave you 4-5 statements which are explaining why the statement is correct. So that was the whole idea. Okay, I said take the reasons. Okay, and list down the logical points which are in the support of the particular topic. So you have got the reasons. Now, यही reasons को मैं summarize करके that why does a society with more justice require less charity? Because it helps develop self-reliance, because it helps develop equal access to resources. There is timely redressal of complaints, okay, and so on. So I have given reasons. Now what you do is, okay, now you have the paraphrase statement, you have the reasons. Now from the reasons, you have got 5-6 reasons. From the reasons, pick up 2-3 core reasons. मैंने आपको 5 reasons दिया. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons I given. Look at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons I have given. Rather than using all the reasons, pick up 1 or 2 of them. Because remember, I am writing the introduction. I need not have everything at one go. So I just pick up 2-3 reasons. And these 2-3 reasons I combine with a paraphrase statement. The paraphrase statement plus 2-3 reasons. I'm combining them. And when I combine them, I write a paragraph which is like a summary of whatever I've said. So a paraphrase statement plus the reasons gives me a paragraph. This paragraph is the thesis. But the thesis, I said, okay, rephrases the idea. Thesis gives me reasons. Thesis explains what the stand of the examiner, of the writer is. Thesis gives me an idea about how to develop the essay. Look at this one. Okay, I combine. These are the 3 examples of the paraphrase statements. So here we have 3 paraphrase statements. The one I gave earlier: paraphrase statement 1, paraphrase statement 2, and paraphrase statement 3. This, along with, you combine with the 5 reasons, we get the thesis. So next one, I'm demonstrating this. Okay, you write the thesis like a paragraph. So here I am. Okay, when a community functions on the foundations of fairness and equal treatment, the need for remedial generosity diminishes significantly. In such a system, people are not merely helped, they are empowered. A society fosters self-reliance. Governance ensures equal access, and timely redressal of mechanisms prevent crisis before charity is needed. Thus, the presence of justice at a structural level reduces the dependency of charity at the societal level. You can clearly see how this is more or less the paraphrase, and these are the reasons. Self-reliance is a reason, equal access is a reason, okay, timely redressal of complaints is a reason. Okay, we have reasons where the dependency is reduced and the society now feels empowered. So I took up the paraphrase statements, I combined the reasons, and here is my thesis. This is one of the smartest way. Okay, and look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Approximately 60, 70 words. It's a very nice beginning to an essay. Approximately 1 page you have written as a good, logical, to the point, without missing the scope of the topic, and a very smart introduction that tells the examiner that you have understood the topic, that you have a logical beginning, and the reasons of why you have taken the stand. Guys, I suggest you can pause here and go back and watch the whole video again till here. I've got one more example to demonstrate to all of you. Okay, so pause, review again. See the video 2-3 times. What I mean by paraphrase, what is the thesis, how I pick up the words, what is the tone of the essay I'm not missing. And some of this you must combine with the previous module videos also. Here is the next example. Before that, ये आपका approach है, okay? Paraphrase, give reasons, select 2-3 core reasons, combine the paraphrase, and write the paragraph. This is the thesis of the essay. Okay. This is the mantra, the 5-step mantra of writing a very good thesis, which becomes the basis of your essay. I'm taking one more example this time. This is a 2024 topic. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but to test a character, give him power. It's telling us all people can take challenges. All people can face reverses and losses. Okay, people have enough resilience to survive at least. Okay, the reverses in life. So adversity is not always the best way of measuring a person. You want to actually measure a person, give him a lot of power. Okay, give him a lot of authority. And then what he does with the authority tells us what type of person he is. I remember long back, I saw a movie. You all should see this movie called as The Mask. A movie by Jim Carrey. Okay, Jim Carrey, a very famous actor. In fact, this movie kind of launched him in a big league. Okay, and in this movie, the actor puts on a mask, and the mask has the capability of bringing out the innermost, aspects of a person, and that becomes the dominant part of the person. The mask can give you immense power, but the power is about what you are within. If within you are a dark man, a bad man, the power makes you an evil man. Within you are a good man, okay, you're a fun-loving man, the mask gives you power to become fun-loving and do good for others. Do look this up, and this topic is something of that kind. In fact, there's also a Spider-Man movie, okay, where Peter Parker is told, and a topic with ऐसे में, with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, like if somebody is given a lot of power, okay, he must not misuse it. He must have responsibility of using the power rightly, and that decides what type of person he is. So this conversation helps you understand the topic. I'll go back to a method. First, I will paraphrase, then give reasons, then I will select the core reasons and so on. ये एक बहुत important part of your essay writing है. Okay, developing the reasons in support of a particular essay. Let's try this. Now, in this topic, there are 3 key words. Stand adversity means a person can face challenges, a person can face threats, stand adversity. Character here means restraint, ethics, a man who is fair, sacrifice, a man who has integrity, a man who has benevolence. These are the aspects of a person's good character. Okay, and give him more power, or means essentially uncontrolled authority. Give him complete control, ownership of resources. Give him power to punish. Give him power to dominate. Give him leadership. What he does with that tells us what kind of a person he is. So all men can survive challenges. Okay, challenges is not a good measure of a man's character. Agar check karna hai what the character is, what you need to do is you essentially have to give the person some kind of power. The power will tell us whether he is actually a good man or a bad one. How he uses authority will tell us whether he is actually a man of character or missing character. Let us see what we have done. Okay, I have studied the nature. The topic is assertive topic. The topic is reflective. It's about the moral aspects. Power reveals true self. इसमें inner wisdom है. Your power tells us who you are. It's about integrity, leadership. And current affairs is the right of authoritarian governments, abuse of power हर जगह हो रहा है, tolerance का importance, okay, inclusivity का importance. You're powerful, are you inclusive? Okay, majoritarianism is a problem of today. Why is a group that has a lot of power, and how they use the power tells us what kind of people they are. So this is a type of a deep dive to understand the character of the particular topic. Moving on. Okay. Now what I have done is I have paraphrased this particular topic. Okay. I have taken the keywords and written 3 alternate statements. While most individuals manage to live through difficult times, now this is a paraphrase of nearly all men can stand adversity. The real essence is revealed only when they're entrusted with influence and responsibility. So this is about give him power. Okay. When a man navigates sufferings, okay, he shows resilience. If you are suffering, it's about your resilience. But who a person is revealed, emerges when they're placed at the helm of decision making. This is about the power. See how I am rephrasing the sentence. Okay. Adversity here is struggle. It is not struggle, but the command that uncovers a person's core ethics. It is the hardship that builds strength, but the power that unmasks the soul. Okay, because hardship builds your strength and unmasks your soul. Okay, I hope you understood the 3 paraphrase statements. Let's move on. Now give us a couple of reasons. Why is the statement correct? Okay, so again, the same idea. You take the statement, nearly all men can stand adversity, to test character, give him power. I add the word because. Because in adversity, people learn to fight back. Okay. Because there is not much option. Okay. In challenges and survival, it is wrong to morally judge a person. When a man is under stress and problem and challenge, उस time में judge करके मत बोलो कि अच्छा आदमी कि बुरा आदमी है. But when you have power positions, when there is no checks and restraints, that is when the true self comes out. Okay. When laws and norms are forcing people to do right things, this is something like, a man is under a pressure because he already is losing. So in laws and norms, people do what is good to do, but that is forced on them. However, if somebody is given power where there are no controls, then we find out what the true inherent character is. Read the 4 sentences again. Okay. See how I have tried to explain this topic through 4 logical statements. 4 statements that tell us why the statement is correct. Okay. Now what you do is you paraphrase statement उठाओ, reasons उठाओ, दोनों को combine कर दो, and you get the thesis statement. Okay. So you take the paraphrase statement, 2-3 reasons, you have the thesis now. So look at this. Okay. So the thesis statement is, while many people endure hardships with grace, the deeper moral compass is revealed only when they're entrusted with influence, because power isolates, it tempts, power demands ethical restraints, okay, which helps us tell us who is that person. Adversity or challenges can teach resilience. But when there is power, okay, that is when the intentions get revealed. Power tests integrity. Power tests, okay, restraints. That's why character is tested when you give somebody too much of, okay, power. In this statement, you realize now, okay, that the first statement is something like a paraphrase. ये paraphrasing है ये वाला part. ये वाला part paraphrasing है. Okay, and I followed it with reasons. Paraphrase, one reason was, okay, it gives influence, power isolates, power will tempt, power will demand restraint. Okay, power is privilege, power is when ethics speaks out. The paraphrase statement plus reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and so on. The paraphrase plus the reasons give us the thesis of an essay. This is summarizing the technique. My suggestion, go back and review the entire video again. This is one of the most critical videos in your essays writing. It'll give you a good idea about how to start the essay. And remember, if you have done this, this is equivalent to almost good 100 words. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost 8.5, 9. That's about 60, 70 words, which is the introduction through the thesis. I hope this method helps you. Please look up some assignments, take the previous year's questions, couple of them, write this and see how you're able to manage, how you're able to ultimately develop a good range of thesis collection for yourself. In support, I'll give you some of the theses of previous year's topics also. Okay, practice this particular technique couple of times. You will master the art of writing a good introduction. Don't fall for those formula techniques of begin with a story, begin with a quote. Those are not the most effective ways of starting a particularly good essay, like the subjective abstract essays of the UPSC examination. Keep watching the videos, make your notes, and reach out and talk to us whenever we have the mentoring sessions in the weekend, this Friday or Saturday.